Hello Feng Shui Nation, it's Sabrina from Feng Shui and Prosper. Welcome to video 3 of my Feng Shui Schools series. If you haven't seen my previous videos, I'm going to give you guys the link for video number 1 where I have to admit I did a mini rant about the one Feng Shui school that everyone needs to stop practicing right now. Okay? I've seen a lot of people get into trouble with that one. That's video number 1. And the previous video, number 2, I talked about 8 mansion, why, even though it's a classical Feng Shui school, that's not the best one for you to focus your Feng Shui journey on, especially when it comes to Feng Shui placements. In this video, we're talking about Flying Star Feng Shui. Now, this is the school of Feng Shui that I've based my Feng Shui consulting business on. And I've just started certifying other students as part of Grandmaster's affiliate, his school in Asia. This is the school that really made me fall in love with Feng Shui, because this is the school that honestly has opened up a lot of doors in mine and my family's lives. It has also given the longed for Feng Shui results for many of my clients. Most of them did, black hat or 8 mansion before. The moment we add in the Flying Star placements into their house, they started seeing results.
So before I go any further, let me clarify something here. What is Feng Shui? Usually if you go online, you read books, you hear that Feng Shui is known as the Chinese art of placement. But just like fast food Feng Shui, this explanation itself, this description is so diluted because Feng Shui is so much more than that. True classical Feng Shui factors in time, compass direction, and physical structure in order to calculate the auspiciousness or lack of thereof of a space. So time factor, compass direction, and physical structure. So let's take a look at these 3 components here. The time factor in Feng Shui. So Feng Shui being a study of energy, we know, even in science, that energy is constantly shifting. It's never stagnant, right? So where Feng Shui is concerned, there is a set of energy that changes every 20 years, known as the Feng Shui period. There's a set of energy that is for every year. There's a set of energy for every month, every day, every 2 hours. And I know this, especially if you're not exposed to classical Feng Shui, this feels like a lot. But at the very least, follow the yearly update, because that is the most accessible information for most people, at least. Okay, so each of these units of time holds an energy pattern that can either support you or can throw up an obstacle in your way. So that's a time factor. Let's take a look at the compass direction. If you look at this compass here, this is called the 24 mountains, where there's the 4 cardinal directions. So there's the north, south, east, west. There's the 4 ordinal directions, which is the northwest, southeast, southwest, and northwest. And then there's the 16 intercardinal directions. So if you look at north alone, so going back to, for instance, 8 mansion Feng Shui, right? All of these directions, so for instance, north has 45 degrees. It would span this whole part of the compass. Same thing with northeast. It would take a hold of all this portion of the compass. In 8 mansion, all these directions, the cardinal and the ordinal directions, take 45 degrees of the compass. In Flying Star, which is what we're going to delve a tiny bit into on this video, the 24 mountains means there's a split of 24 pieces of the compass pie on the compass. So 360 degrees divided by 24 mountains means each of these piece of the compass pie, so to speak, is 15 degrees. And if you take the time factor and the compass direction into consideration for Flying Star, this is how you get the Flying Star chart. This is the Flying Star chart, or a permanent energy chart of a house for a house that is period 7 north 1. So period 7 is the time factor, meaning period 7 is referring to the time that is between February of 1984 to February of 2004. So whoever that moves in between that time would be in period 7. And let's say for this example, this house is moved in period 7 by the current tenants or occupants, and it is north 1 facing. So meaning it is facing this direction of the compass. And based on the time and the compass, now we can calculate the permanent energy of this house. Okay, I am not going to go into the nitty-gritty of what these numbers mean, but basically if you look at all these patterns, there's numbers 1 to 9 in different locations, and each number would mean a different energy, be it for health and relationship or for finances. Okay, and then in my certification course, I go deep into this. We also talk about what is, for instance, what is the meaning of 4 as the top left number and the 1 as the top right number. But there's another level of Flying Star, which again, I only cover in the certification course. I teach my students what is the significance of 4-1, this specific combination, or what is the meaning of 3-2, what is the meaning of 7-7, 5-9, 9-5, and so on and so forth. This is where Flying Star can really prove its mettle, in that it goes really deep in terms of what kind of energies can affect the health and relationship, what kind of energies can affect the finances, what kind of, if there is illness, what kind of body part is it more likely to affect, and which member of the family will this energy more likely affect, right? This is the power of Flying Star Feng Shui. And now that we have this permanent chart, then we look at the physical structure. Okay, remember this format here: time factor, compass direction, physical structure. So now we have the chart, we superimpose it to a house. And then we look at structures. For example, external structures, such as mountain and rivers, buildings and street formations. And we also look at internal structures, such as stove, beds, work desks, doors, windows, walls, and so on. Feng Shui focuses heavily on these structures. Okay, so this is where just saying that Feng Shui is a Chinese art of placement is really taking so much of its essence out of that description alone. Okay, so from now on, if you want proper results from Feng Shui, you really need to follow a school that guides you, or at least has these elements: the time factor, the compass direction, and the physical structure has these elements as the placement considerations. Okay, which is why, great, if you want to do 8-mansion Feng Shui as a person who is brand new to Feng Shui, that is absolutely fine, right? It is still considered a classical school, but again, because it is a 45-degree placement, then the placements or the usage is, or even in the implementation is not as strong. Okay, so with Flying Star, we're delving it down to 15 degrees of the compass. And then our placement is based on this one here. Okay, so if you're feeling frustrated and confused, and you're like, okay, Safrina, you're telling me to at least do the annual, do my Feng Shui based on annual energy. How do I go about that? This is where I would highly recommend that you join me in my annual Feng Shui online event. I've started doing this since 2014, and every year I get hundreds of people joining me online where I do just that for you. I do all the calculations and I give you a Feng Shui playbook for the year pretty much. So how does my annual event work? So here is the chart. So earlier we did the period 7 north 1 facing. So for instance, we are looking at a house that has the period 7 energy north facing north 1. Okay, and then this is the chart for the 2020 energy. So in my Feng Shui online event, which I do every year, I look at the annual energy, which is the same for everyone, and I superimpose it to all the period 6, period 7, and period 8 homes, covering all the 24 mountains, covering all this. Okay, so if a private consultation is not an option for you, then this is the next best thing, because this can get you ready, get your house ready for the year, where I do all the figuring out for you. You just need to figure out, with my help, your period and your facing. And then after that, when I talk about the energy of the year, I will say, okay, this is the energy in the southeast, and this is how you do your Feng Shui, unless you have a specific period and facing where that generalized advice will not work. So you don't have to worry about putting the wrong element or activating negative energy inadvertently. An example of how I do this, okay? So this is a screenshot that I took of my, my Feng Shui 2020 guidebook. So for the West, I tell everyone that this is one of the most auspicious directions in the West this year, right? For 2020, it has financial, relationship, and even fertility luck. And this is the generalized advice for the West. However, I also write down, do not activate if your house is listed here. If you are a period 7 home facing Southwest 1, if you are period 6 home facing Southwest 2, Northwest 2 or Northwest 3, and so on and so forth. So this is where you get to really distance yourself from fast food Feng Shui, from generalized Feng Shui, and really do the placements as best as you can for the year based on your period. These are your periods, right? P6, period 6, period 7, period 8, and also based on your facing, which is your compass direction. And don't worry when it comes to determining the period and the facing and determining your layout. I will help you in the online, in our private Facebook group. Okay.
And you've heard me say Feng Shui is as unique as your fingerprint. Flying Star is the school where this is the most obvious for people. Because you may have the same period and the same facing, but because your layout is different, then it impacts, it changes, it affects the experience that people have in that space, be it a house or a retail store or an office space. And therefore, 2 homes may have the same chart, energetic blueprint. But if their layout is different, then their placement of the bed is different. Placement of the stove will be different. Placement of the work desk will be different, because now we also look at the structural component of that house or that space. So some of you are probably thinking, oh my gosh, this is getting really exciting. This is the part of Feng Shui that I've been missing, right? if you're in that group, then I would love for you to join me in any shape or form, either in my annual training or in my certification, or even just watching my videos. Okay? But there's also the other camp that would say, I can't wrap my head around this. I don't even know where to start. Right? And all I can say is, Feng Shui is not easy. Feng Shui is a bit of a mind F, if you don't mind me saying. But Feng Shui, when done the way it's meant to be done, you will see shifts, you will see results, you will find peace, you will find things resolving much easier than before. Real Feng Shui will help you to stop feeling like you're swimming against the current, because now with real Feng Shui, you can kind of foresee what could happen. That's another thing about Flying Star Feng Shui that I love, love, love. The power of Flying Star Feng Shui can actually help you forecast what could happen in the past, and it could also help you look back into, forecast what could happen in the future, and you could also look back into the past. And most of the time, Flying Star Feng Shui gives you clues as to why certain things happen, why certain a marriage falls apart, why someone fell sick, why someone lost money, or why someone made a lot of money, good and bad. Having been a Flying Star or consultant for a decade now, I am still awed by the accuracy of Feng Shui. And now that I'm certifying people in my lineage, it's great to see the light bulbs happen in my students as well. And the thing, real Flying Star Feng Shui can even pinpoint what if there is illness, what kind of illness will happen in that house or in that room. Most of the time when people call me for a consultation, usually I ask them, okay, why do you feel this is the right time for consulting? Some of them say, oh, well, I just bought a house, so I wanted to get it done or whatever. But some of my clients in the past, they wanted to have the Feng Shui looked at because things have been happening in that house. Accidents happened, illness happened, big, huge losses happened. And I stopped them from telling me when it happened, because I wanted to prove to them the power of Flying Star. So for instance, I have a client who came to me because the husband went into 3 different car accidents that year. And I worked back the Flying Star energy of that year, again, the time factor, okay? Flying Star chart for that year. And then I looked at the monthly energy that could also trigger accidents. So I said, was the accident around this month, and this month? Give or take a week or 2. And the client confirmed all 3 was correct. And some of you saw my YouTube video about the COVID pandemic, where I also talked about the Feng Shui energies that can trigger riots and violence. Guess what? The George Floyd case unfortunately happened, and there was outrage and riots and marches all around the world. It's not my power. It's the power of Flying Star Feng Shui. When you know how to read the energies, then you can prepare yourself. So again, this is not a plug, but I'm just telling you, in Flying Star Feng Shui, at least the course that I taught, that was the course that had me start my business. And I tell my students and my potential students, that it takes you from beginner to intermediate advanced. What happens after Flying Star, we will talk about in the next video. But if this has piqued your interest and you're ready to go into Flying Star Feng Shui, but maybe you're already overwhelmed by the information that I shared, or maybe you just want to have a taste of Flying Star on how it works, I highly recommend that you join me in my annual Feng Shui training. It will get you ready for, in terms of Feng Shui placements, it will get you ready for the upcoming year. And that way, at least you know you and your family are in a better spot to weather whatever energetic changes that are coming into the house, positive and negative. Okay, I'm going to give you guys the link for my annual training. I would really hope for you guys to join me there. This is where, one, you learn how to do proper Feng Shui, at least the foundational stuff, in terms of how to determine your period, not as simple as it is, and how to determine facing. This is also very confusing for most people. Okay, and this also has me, my own eyes, my two eyes looking at your layout, because remember, every layout is different. So if a private consultation is not an option for you, then join me in my annual training. Then I can set you on the right path, unique to your home, so that you can start doing your Feng Shui placement for the year. So if you're curious about advanced Feng Shui schools, I won't talk about all of them, but there are a couple that I practice myself. Join me in the next video. Take care.